Hello everyone, this is my group's presentation on quantitative research designs. Our group members are David Ardon, which is myself, Navi Mundi, Travis Haransky, and Eduardo Silva. This is our presentation outline. First we have types of research approaches, definition of research design, definition of quantitative research, definition and types of quantitative designs, compare and contrast with worldviews, matching worldviews in research designs, and summary.
We decided that before giving a definition of what is quantitative designs, we wanted to provide information of what is research approach. Craswell also describes research approaches as plans and the procedures for research that span the steps from broad assumptions to detailed methods of data collection, analysis, and interpretation. And the three approaches to research are qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. In addition, Creswell describes research designs as types of inquiry with qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches that provide specific directions for procedures in research studies. Also, we need to know what is quantitative research. For the purpose of quantitative research, Creswell describes this approach as the testing objective theories by examining the relationship among variables, and these variables in turn can be measured typically on instruments so that the number data can be analyzed using statistical procedures. So now we can better understand Creswell's definition on quantitative designs, which are strategies of inquiry associated with quantitative research. These designs often employ data collection over time to examine development of ideas. There are two main designs in quantitative approach according to Creswell: survey and experimental. Survey research provides a quantitative or numeric description of trends, attitudes, or opinions of a population. Experimental research, on the other hand, seeks to determine if a specific treatment influences an outcome. The research assesses this by providing a specific treatment to one group and withholding it from another, and then determining how both groups scored on an outcome. Creswell also noted that during the 19th and 20th century, strategies of inquiry associated with quantitative research were those that invoked the post-positivist worldview, and that originated mainly in psychology. These include true experiments and the less rigorous experiments called quasi-experiments. However, Creswell describes that recent quantitative strategies have involved complex experiments with many variables and treatments.
Now that we have defined what quantitative design is, we will now be focusing on comparing and contrasting worldviews in quantitative designs. To review, quantitative design is a strategy of inquiry associated with quantitative research. These designs often employ longitudinal data collection over time to examine development of ideas. In regards to quantitative approach and worldviews, the quantitative approach aligns with the positives worldview, experimental design, and pretest measure of attitudes. For example, the research tests a theory by specifying narrow hypotheses and the collection of data to support or refute the hypothesis. An experimental design is used in which attitudes are assessed both before and after an experimental treatment. The data are collected on an instrument that measures attitudes, and the information is analyzed using statistical procedures and hypothesis testing.
Matching worldviews and research designs. When dealing with different worldviews in research, quantitative research follows the post-positivist worldview. This is due to this worldview being seen as the scientific method or for doing science research, which is considered to be more traditional. Additionally, the post-positivist worldview follows specific laws and theories that govern the world, and these theories need to be tested, verified, and refined so that we as humans can understand the world better. Bringing back to how this worldview is considered to follow the scientific method, the researcher needs to begin with a theory. Next, he needs to collect empirical and measurable data that either supports or disproves their theory, then make revisions based on that knowledge, and if applicable, conduct additional testing. There are also key assumptions that go along with this worldview. First, evidence is always imperfect, so researchers do not try proving the hypothesis, rather they do quite the opposite. Next, most quantitative research starts with the testing of a theory. Furthermore, the researcher collects information on instruments based on measures completed by participants. Additionally, in quantitative studies, the researcher advances relationships among variables and uses this in the form of questions of hypotheses. And lastly, conducting research must be done in an objective manner, and this is what quantitative research follows, since it is based off of the scientific method, empirical observation, and gathering measurable data.
Summary. The three approaches are all means of conducting research. However, each approach can be used with a plan or proposal to conduct research in a specific manner in order to get specific data sought out from a research approach. Quantitative research focuses on collecting data through the use of an instrument, through an experiment, in order to gather numerical data to review afterward. This involves close-ended questions, answers, and measurable variables, according to Creswell. In summary, there are also different philosophical worldviews or set of beliefs when conducting research. The post-positivist world is one focused on the scientific method or traditional objective research, according to Creswell, that although there is evidence of hypotheses being failed to be rejected, there is also no 100% proof of the data collected to be infallible or correct, according to Creswell. This method concerns itself more with quantitative research, as this research is typically conducted in order for the data collected to be reviewed and the theory to be objectively verified. There are also research designs for conducting research. These can be also referred to as a method of inquiry or strategy of inquiry, according to Creswell. Within the late 19th century and during the 20th century, research designs that gathered quantitative data related to themselves to the post-positivist worldview. The quantitative research designs or strategy of inquiries can involve studies conducted over a period of time where data is collected during that period and the data results are examined for patterns. This type of research design can also involve in a structural equation model, according to Creswell, where causal paths can be seen along with data collected concerning variables. Two quantitative research design can be surveys and experimental research. Surveys involving quantitative data being collected through questions and responses in order to find opinions, attitudes, or trends. Experimental research involves trying out a method to see if an outcome can be influenced, according to Creswell. In conclusion, the quantitative approach is an empirical research method to prove theories with numerical data collected.